Well, hello. It's Saturday evening. I was finally got mother to eat some of this asparagus quiche and potatoes, and I'm fixing to put this up. You know, work is never, ever done. Just never done. And I know y'all that have a house full of kids, I know y'all really know what I'm talking about. So, let me get this put into the refrigerator for in the morning, because I'll have, make sure that's on there. Okay, so while y'all been gone, I've been still working, trying to get this done and that done, and I still haven't got everything done. But what I did is I put some pork ribs into the Instapot because I knew we needed some more meat. See, that just cooks that off that bone, y'all. Now, I don't know, the ones of you have trouble with this. I don't understand it. I have explained it and explained it till I'm blue in the face. And all you gotta do is take this and cut that fat off while it's still hot. Look through that. Now there's a potato hole, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Little potato hole. Now see, that's just got all that fat off of there. Don't take but a second. Now here's a piece of fat down in here. So I'm just gonna clip that out with my fingers and get that old fat there off of there. That's all you gotta do. Okay. So I think we've got the bones and the fat out of there. There's another little potato hole. Put that in our bag for the garbage. Let me rinse my hands again. Y'all, that roast, I don't know how you would want that any more tender. I mean, it's just like it breaks. It's just absolutely, look, see how that tender that is? That's just unreal. So I don't understand. See that? I don't understand, y'all. The only thing I can think about, see that even some of that should be hard is not hard. So that's the roast. That's the pork roast. And I put it on 23 or 4 minutes. The only thing I can think about y'all are doing that my sister did, I think if y'all remember from the video, I said she came down and wanted to know why her roast was tough. Well, I got to doing some research from her. Let me get this knife washed off. I got to doing some research from her on her situation. And what had happened is she was trying to cook beef roast on a pork roast setting. Now, you don't think that would make much difference? Well, it does, because just takes longer for that to cook, you know. Let me rinse my little thing off here because I had it laying over here. Now, this is that magnet that I got off of Amazon, this cheat sheet I call it. So if you go to, let's see, a loin roast, 2 to 4 pounds. On a pork, 2 cups is 45 minutes. Roast is 3 to 5 pounds, is 2 cups for 80 minutes. Now that's pork. The only thing I think she's doing is I use a rib or a pork chop, you know, thick cut pork chops. I think she was trying to put her pork roast, which is the beef or pork roast, the big ones, or the, you know, whatever size, on for the same time that the pork spare ribs or the pork chops. See, like spare ribs are 2 to 4 pounds, 1 cup of liquid, 20 minutes. The chops, 1-inch chops, or if they're frozen, 10 minutes, and then if they're non-frozen, it's half a cup of liquid and 10 minutes. So I think she was just, and maybe that's what's happening to y'all, because I never have no trouble with it. But I always buy the spare rib or the pork by the inch cut pork chop. And then I put it on 25 minutes. And I never have had any trouble. And it comes out as tender as you would want. Plus, it makes the juice for my roast gravy. So I just had to tell y'all that's what's got to be happening is y'all are following some kind of recipe, but for pork chops and ribs, spare ribs that are pork. Let me see if this has. Okay, so we got baby back ribs, 1 rack, 1 cup of liquid, 20 minutes. So let's go over to the beef. Short ribs, any size, 1/2 cup and 30 minutes plus 10 minutes if they're frozen. Now you have to do that natural release, push your button on, because you don't want that steam. You don't want to cook your meat and then hurry up and think, well, it's done, and let your steam off. Let it sit there and get the steam off itself. Do not, but make sure you turn that stay warm button off, or it'll just sit there and keep cooking. So if y'all have any more trouble with that, just write in the comments and I'll try to figure out what you're talking about. And tonight I was going to do it live, but I was still in this kitchen. And the internet, I'm still battling the old-timey Japanese war movies. I'll say something and then my voice follows. Looks like I'm doing some of those, y'all remember them old movies that they would talk and then it would take a little bit and finally the voice would catch up? Well, that's what's happening. So I've got to call into these people. And it being Christmas, it's just, you might as well forget that. So, you know, you just might as well forget that and get it over with that. Okay, so what I did is I put going around the barn to get to this chicken house. You know, it takes me a while to tell anything. I put my ribs into the Instapot. Well, I just wash, scrub the sweet potatoes. I had 4 of them, cut the ends off. And once I got my salt and pepper on my rib meat, I knew there was room in there to put my sweet potatoes, so I just put my whole big sweet potatoes around in that Instapot, and they cooked with my roast. So when the roast got done, look how good the sweet potatoes. See, they come out just as good as you'd want. So if you're trying to do that for your lunch, or put your vegetable in with that, if it's something like a potato, then you just cook them inside with the roast. I've always had good luck with that. So I decided I'd been hankering for a sweet potato pie. Pumpkin pie is similar, but sweet potato pie is the pie I love. I really love it. So that's what I'm going to make right now. It's a sweet potato pie. And I won't use all of these potatoes, but I'll use quite a few of them, you know. I'm looking here to see, I need 2 eggs, and I've got my salt and remember I told you I was going to make a pie because I had that evaporated milk left over. So, probably 3 medium sweet potatoes would be what you'd use. Let me get my pie crust, I'll leave the pie crust in there. Well, no, I'll just go ahead and take it out. If not, I'll forget. Y'all know I'll forget. We need to let it get at room temperature because there's still some small cracks in that I need to repair. Now remember, I used one of these this morning for the quiche. And these, you just can't hardly cut them out of this kind of pan and this edge not crack. I don't know anything else to do with it. I've put egg whites on it. I put cheese in it for the quiche to try to hold it together. There is that flour and water mix that you can put in to a pie pan that we used I learned in learning to cook, that might help it, but I'm not sure. So let me get this, because I've still got sage in here, and we don't want sage in our pumpkin pie. So let me get that sage and oregano taken out and put it here, and I'll put that in a small bowl. Let me get this cleaned out. This marble wrenches out pretty good, but I want it clean, because I don't want any of that sage or oregano or nothing flavor in my pie. Well, this is an old one, but it's a good one. Let me rinse my pestle off and get this. I've got one that's really old that came from my grandmother's father's store, which had a pharmacy, or they mixed medicine. It really wasn't a pharmacy because they didn't have pharmacies then. And I've got it. Let's get some more. When I say dolly, I always do this. You know, dolly. We're going to use dollies. Butterfly. Little dollar. These are them little dollar ones I got at the dollar store. I don't know when. A year or two ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do my cinnamon and nutmeg, and so I'm going to do, let's do a teaspoon, but I'm going to do 2 half teaspoons that'll fit in this is that Vietnamese cinnamon and the deal, so I'm going to do a little over. I love cinnamon. We do that a little less, so it won't be too cinnamony. So that's 1 teaspoon of my Vietnamese cinnamon. Now I want a half teaspoon I put a tablespoon in there. Well, we're going to dip some of that out. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. We are going to dip a teaspoon of that out because I don't know what I was thinking. That was a tablespoon that I was... Okay, now we'll go to a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Let's get a teaspoon of nutmeg. Let's do a fourth teaspoon. Let's see. Fourth teaspoon of ginger. Let's get a fourth teaspoon of ginger. Then I'm going to do fourth teaspoon of cloves. So that's all that you have for your spices for this pie. Now I might sprinkle a little, you can use the pumpkin pie spice here, which would be a teaspoon and a half about of your McCormick. I'll use that to sprinkle on afterwards. So I like grinding these because it makes them like they're fresh. Not that you have to, but I just like doing it. So there's our spice. Got our spice. Now then, let me get I think I'll just use this Tupperware bowl. And get me some sugar. That's flour. We don't need that. Let's get that's some white sugar there. Okay, we'll get some white sugar and let's see. Well, now in my coffee when I've got my brown sugar. Don't break those. Those are old. Be like me today to break them. So I'm gonna do. Let me get my cup. Y'all, I'm just all out of sorts. I'm tired. I really am. I'm tired because I've been going at it since early this morning. And y'all know, I just keep going till I just pass out. Alright, so we're going to do I'm going to do a half a cup. Let me get my half a cup. My half a cup of sugar. It said a cup of sugar, and that's what it is, but I'm not going to put a whole cup of sugar, then a half cup of brown sugar. I'm just not going to do it. That's too sweet for us. So I'm going to do a half a cup of brown, which is all that is make sure, packet. That's about right. Brown sugar, all brown sugar is take white sugar and put molasses with it and mix it, and it makes brown sugar. So let me get the canisters, the German canisters, out of the way because I don't want to break them. I don't want to break them. Okay. Let me get 2 eggs, y'all. We gotta have 2 eggs. I should have had them at room temperature, but I didn't because but I can do it pretty quick. I can room temperature them pretty quick. Let me go ahead and get my evaporated milk out while I'm in here. I don't leave stuff setting out until I'm ready to use it. So let me just put these eggs right here. Let my sink run a minute so I can get the hot water. I don't want it scalding hot out of the out of the deal. Now, let's see if this is, yeah, see that's kind of softened up. So let's go through here and kind of repair this pie crust a little bit. I'll pull it out a little bit too from that pan, because when that machine pops these down in there, that's why I think it makes hairline cracks. And then when they freeze them and you unfreeze them, I should have just made a pie crust today, but I had this, and I thought, well, there's no sense. And I kind of push that down so it's easier to get it out when it's time to get it out. I get it around, get your pie server underneath there. It's hard to do it in these pans that's got a lip on them. So I kind of pull that out. Pull that out from the edge, see there. Then you get your pie, little pie thing underneath it. Seems like. So, I think that'll, see how I pull that edge kind of back towards me. Okay. I'm just going to set those eggs in some hot water for just a minute while we're talking. And I'm getting the other stuff done. Let me go ahead and get this sugar kind of stirred up here. Get all the little lumps out and stir it around. Well, New Year's is fixing to be here in a few days. And then I guess we'll be ready to do whatever, Let me go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and put in my spices. We get them in there. Pop that and get that spice. Boy, it smells good. I wish y'all was here to smell that. Nothing like that Vietnamese cinnamon. If you don't have Vietnamese cinnamon, the only place I know to get it is at the Copper Kettle. But they might sell it. I imagine they sell it at Amazon. I've never looked it up because I just buy it there. Now that, once I get this what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my milk, and that will be about 2/3 a cup of milk. So I've got this cup of milk, I'm going to use it. But what I'm going to do is I've got some of this blood orange olive oil, and I'm just going to experiment. So I'm not going to put this on the recipe. I'm going to experiment using this blood orange and I want about I'd say tablespoon maybe, let me see. About a tablespoon of that blood orange oil. And I'm going to put it, because that'll give that pie a different flavor, and I've been wanting to try that. Now that'll be good in the chocolate cake, they tell me. I've never used it yet. So we're going to put our cup. Let me look at my eggs and see if they're, probably take a little bit longer. I'll go ahead and put my sweet taters in there, and I'm only going to do. Let me just see what this looks like. That's about 3 there, sweet potatoes. Let me kind of mix that around. There's a little dark spot. Get it, if I can get it. It's just one of the little eyes make a dark spot occasionally. And that's okay, because it's not going to hurt us. Let's just mix that around. Yeah, I think that'll be plenty. Plenty potato, I do. I do think so. Let me get this up where I can mix this. Brown sugar, you say, will turn that dark. That's what makes it. I want to get that mixed really good. Okay. Mixed really good. These eggs, that hot water will usually, I'm just going to use one of my measuring cups and pull this over. And just, see now that, yeah, that's about room temperature. So you see, I always just usually take them out before. I have had to do this occasionally, but not usually. I try to keep my brain working, but sometimes it don't anymore, so that'll be okay too, you know. Let me get my hands wiped off. Now let me get the cookbook, since I'm going to use my 1930 Better Homes and Garden cookbook. The one I keep dropping and breaking that used to be in pristine condition. We've got our pumpkin, our light brown sugar, our cinnamon. This said mace. I never put mace in my pie because I just don't have any mace. Spice. A lot of you wouldn't know that, but it's used for years. So we got a half teaspoonful of cloves, a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, a 1/2 teaspoon. We forgot that say. So that's good. I went over a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Let's go ahead and put about a pinch. I'm not going to put a bunch of salt, but you've got to have that in there. See how that's okay. Now I think it's because those eggs I'd let them get. So we're just going to mix it this way. That's fine. It'll be just as good. Might not be as fluffy as separating the eggs and then beating the egg whites. And once you got all this mixed up, then folding those in at the end. It does make a fluffier pie, but we're okay that way. Now a lot of times I take sour cream. I mean not sour cream, cream cheese. And I put a 1/2 block into this. Makes a lighter colored pie, but it is a different flavor and it's absolutely divine. I use it in my pumpkin torts. But I've done it in pies too. Okay, now let's go ahead and put our, make sure we've got everything in here first. This called, okay, 1 cup, okay. So I'm using evaporated milk because when this cookbook was done, they didn't, I guess, have evaporated milk. So they probably have a 1/3 egg because of it. But we're not going to do that. I only did the 2 egg. But if you feel like you need more pie filling, add a 1/3 one. Let's just mix that. Right there. We're just mixing. I need to get a stool to set my bowl up on, then y'all can see it. We're just mixing that around good. You can smell that blood orange into the batter. And that's something I've been wanting to try in a pumpkin torte. And I thought, well, tonight's a good night since I've got this pumpkin and I'm going to make. Okay, that's our stuff, y'all. That's our filling. See, it's easy for y'all to do this. All right, let me pour that into our pie shell. I don't want to waste none. I hope it will fill this up without wasting too much. It might set. I did pretty well. If it explodes, it'll just explode. But I don't want to waste a whole bunch of that. And then see, when I push that in, with a pie like this, you can get underneath the edge of that a little better. I'm pretty sure that I've never had trouble with it. But with these, I'm going to go ahead and run my finger right under that just so I am quite sure. Okay. Now then, let's get some McCormick pumpkin pie spice. Now, you don't want to overdo it, but you don't want to underdo it either. So we just put a little on top. Now that's pumpkin pie spice, and this is a sweet potato. I do know that, so, but it'll still be good, y'all. Okay, so now I'm going to put this in a 400-degree oven to start with. So let me turn my, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to, well, you can do it on 400 and then reduce it. So that may be what, let me see what the book says. It says 325, so we're going to use 325 on this. They didn't have convection ovens in 1930, but we're going to do it this way. And we're going to do it, let's see. Let's turn on the convection, and it won't take. This says 325 degrees and bake for 30 minutes out of the Better Homes and Gardens book. This makes a 1 very large pie or 2 small pies. So it says bake in a hot oven 450 degrees for 5 minutes. So let's turn that up. There's the reason they said that. So let's go to 450. Gosh. Okay, we got it on 450 for 5 minutes. Then we'll cut it down to 325 for 30 minutes. That just gets that pie set. It's what it does, and you want that. It's just these new fandangle ovens. It doesn't take all that process anymore like they used to. But we'll do what it says, because I don't like screwing up stuff. I screw up enough stuff without having to try. Okay, we're just letting this stuff get at room temperature so that I can put it away till tomorrow. And I hope y'all have, I've said this today on the first video, but I really do genuinely hope that y'all had a great Christmas. Mother and I, we're just loners. We did go to my sister's, and then my brother came. So that was only for about a couple of hours. Other times we've been right here at the casa ourselves because we don't get out with all the crazies. We're out enough with the crazies for that 2 or 3 hours. So we'll see how this pie does, and I'll be back. My mother came in and said, "Boy, you're living it up in here, aren't you?" I said, "Well, I don't know about living it up, but I'm trying to get things done. You know, I just get in here. Let me turn that down so y'all won't gripe." A lot of you gripe say, "That music's so disturbing." Well, don't watch then. Like I always say, you can watch if you want to. I'm getting my little bowl covers. So I'm going to put them. This meat is finally cooled enough. I'm going to still set it out for a little bit, and I'm going to take that. I didn't use all the juice. I kept part of the juice for my roast gravy tomorrow. There's our sweet potatoes. Those would be good. Grandmother always made them with marshmallows and cinnamon and stuff like that. Got this bowl clean. So now let me look at the pie real quick and see what it is doing. Fine. It says we got 15 more minutes. Okay. Yeah, the way I feel about this channel, I do it because I enjoy it. And there's about 2 or 3 out of all my followers, and that's all they do is gripe about something or complain, and they've never contributed nothing to this channel. The ones that have contributed and really stuck around, I appreciate them so much, and I never hear boo from them. They just always, so after the first year, if these that don't straighten up, I'm just clicking them off. Because even though they write stuff, you'd think it shouldn't bother me, but it does. When I work hard and try to do all these things that I really have to do anyway, I do go extra. So my channel, like the lives and stuff, I will get back to that and do it. And I appreciate everything anybody's done for me. And but you know, you'd think they'd be appreciative too, if it brings them some kind of joy. I just don't like, oh, there's the pie. Let's look at something. Let's check something and see. Well, it's got about, I'd say about 7 more minutes for it to really be, for me to be comfortable with it being baked, because that's a thick pie, you know, and you've got your pumpkin filling, and you just have to be real careful with that so you don't burn it, but yet it's done. You know, you just have to be kind of careful with that. Well, I've got everything pretty well picked up and fixed up, and maybe I can go to bed tonight and lay my head down and thank Jesus and God for all my blessings, and then go to sleep. Usually I toss and turn because I just can't sleep hardly anymore. There's a lot of you said in the comments, well, you posted at 3 or 4 o'clock. Well, yeah, because I'm probably up. You know, just the way life is. Okay, the oven went off, and I'm going to go ahead and extract this out of there. And so you can see it at least. I'm not sure. Here's the pie. So it's browned, and once it cools, I'm pretty sure it's firm. Now you do the knife test on that, and it probably, let's see. Well, that's pretty clean. So that come out pretty clean. So I think it'll be alright if we just let it sit there and cool off. Got crumbs all over the place. Now I've got to clean that. So that's our sweet potato pie. And we'll let it cool off. And then I'll cut it a big dollop of fresh whipped cream. So that's what's going on here. We hope that you have a good rest of your weekend. And then tomorrow start a new week. Thank and count your blessings from the Lord, because He does keep you in order and He keeps you fed and clothed. And if you have any problems, just ask Him. We'll talk to you soon. God bless us. God bless you. God bless the United States. And that's all I can say right now. We'll talk to you later on. Bye-bye. Okay, I wanted to come back and show y'all. I used my cake icing tool, the old one, and I just slide it up under my pie. So let me get a little bit of whipped cream. There's the sweet potato pie. So we did get it out. We got it baked. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.